Believe that this is in the middle of inner city Melbourne. I'm in Brunswick at Ceres, the Centre for Education and Research in Environmental Studies, and I'm surrounded by all things green and sustainable. So what better place to kick off the show?
All this beautiful food has been created and inspired from a garden in a very unusual place. And it just goes to show that food can be grown almost anywhere.
I have a chance to admire an enviable collection 20 years in the making, which apparently thrives on air.
Do you love growing your own food, but are not so keen on resowing or replanting every season? Well, there's a whole bunch of plants that'll last for years, that'll be perfect for...
Here at Ceres, the flowers are really putting on a show. How can you not smile when you look into these cosmos? Now, if you love flowers, particularly camellias, wait till you get an eyeful of a place that I recently visited. This is a moving story. It's about old and significant camellias escaping the bulldozer, being relocated and then properly cared for.
With the quarantine laws these days, we can't bring them in here to Australia, so it's so important that we save these.
Bill Parker is a nurseryman and founding member of Camellia Ark, a not-for-profit association dedicated to conserving rare camellias. In 2014, they rescued old camellias from a long-established nursery in St Ives on Sydney's North Shore that is being redeveloped as an aged care facility.
These camellias have been sitting in the ground, some of them for about 70 or 80 years, and so we came in and we saved them.
How many camellias did you end up recovering?
Recovering around 97 camellias.
How did you go about saving them?
We cut with an excavator both sides of the shrub, and then we cut underneath, and with the excavator we put them in a sling and we slung them bare rooted onto the truck. Now then we brought them back here to Glenorrhy.
Some of these old plants are real stunners.
This one's Camellia japonica, or it's actually Camellia hybrid, buttons and bows. Look at the shape of the flower, beautiful formal, a bit of light pink in some of the outer petals. I love this thing, very pretty camellia. This one is Camellia wildfire. They originate from Asia. The Korean national flower is very similar to this one, the lovely red with the golden stone. Then, as we're going along, how about that?
Wow, that is like delicate origami, really.
It's one called Mrs. D.W. Davis Costanzo.
Densely wrapped, isn't it?
Look at the shape of it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Lasker Beauty, it's a reticulata. It is a big shrub. I mean, you wouldn't put this in a very small spot. But wow, you know, in a nice corner of your backyard, wow, what a show. Look at that. Now that's one called Carter's Sunburst, and you can see the little flecks of dark pink in the light colour flower. And actually beside us, we've got one that's the same flower, but with just pink. Isn't that pretty? And that's Carter's Pink.
Bill's found space for these precious old camellias all over his nursery. It's like being on a discovery tour.
Wow, this is different.
Yes, it is, mate.
Camellia.
Yeah, it's camellia. It's Camellia nutidisma. Now, it's a species, so you can see the buds forming.
Yeah.
They'll be out in a couple of weeks, and the flower will come out like this. I mean, this was the first canary yellow camellia that came into Australia. It's a little bit tropical, so you wouldn't put it in the real cold. Yeah, you put it in where there's a little bit warmer climate, more a protected spot, you know, from frost.
Looks to me like there's a few missing from here, Bill. Where have they gone?
Mate, they've gone over to St Ives, the aged care facility where they came from originally.
What a beautiful closed loop. They're back in the gardens here. So they appreciate it.
18 of them, mate. And we did that last week.
And what are you going to do with the other plants?
Well, they're very sacred to us.
I can see.
You know,
They're special.
I mean, we've spent 3 years of working on them, and look, if there's a home out there for them, let's hope eventually we can keep them together, look after them for future propagating.
Bill and I will be back later with tips and tricks for growing these blooming beauties.